This is an appeal from the Institute of Lavatorial and Ablutionary Compliance. Following the recent UK Supreme Court judgment that sex-based rights refer to biological sex rather than your certificated sex, a great decision that added such clarity to what it means to be a woman, making things much clearer by getting rid of the system we've been using for years, where everyone already has documents to say which sex they are, and replacing it with common sense biological definitions. It gets rid of this confusing old system that was created specifically to show which sex someone should be treated as, and replaces it with a much better defined common sense definitions of biological woman, which clearly means the sex gametes you produce, unless, like some women, you don't produce any eggs or might actually have some intersex people producing both, so maybe it doesn't mean that. Maybe it means genetics, because genetics are set and determined, and although thinking about it, almost nobody has had their genes tested, and quite a few people who've been born as women and think of themselves as women, even people who've given birth as women, have male or even intersex genes. And come to think of it, I don't even know what this would mean for people with intersex genes, and so maybe it doesn't mean that. Maybe they mean biologically female as determined by hormone ranges like we do in sports. After all, it's the hormones that tell the body to be one gender or another. They set male and female balance of muscles and growing breasts, and although trans women normally take estrogen and so have female level hormones, and they'll be allowed in the women, so we can't use that. How about the length of the phallus, just like we do now? It served us for many years as a method for determining sex. Everyone can show their genitals, and potential penile protrusions can be measured to decide which bathroom you can use. Don't worry though, perhaps we could just measure it once, you won't have to show it every time, and then we could write it down on a certificate so you don't have to get your bits measured each time. We could use the length of the penis at birth to register your sex, but then actually thinking about it, I've just created birth certificates, haven't I? Okay, so not that, but definitely something biological. Isn't this so much clearer now? Now we can all disregard our certificated sex and use common sense to determine what everyone else's biology is by guessing based on several factors. It's so much clearer. But it's not just about adding clarity. This is to help ensure that so-called trans women like this burling biological man here are returned to the men's room where they belong. And that this so-called trans man, this delicate little flower of born biological female that we see here, females like this are back in the women's room when they belong. By putting biologically female trans men like this in the women's loos, we can finally stop normalizing men going into the women's room. But trans people are going to whinge about this. A trans man like this, for example, might say that people would attack him for going in the women's room where she belongs. And trans women will point out that they almost certainly face violence in men's spaces, and so they're not going to go willingly. And that's why, despite receiving support from various Christian fundamentalist dark money think tanks from across the world, we need you. We're appealing to you to send what you can to us. With just £150,000 we can pay for armed men to stand guard inside women's bathrooms, to check everyone's biological sex, to make women feel safe. Or just £6 million can help pay for one of the millions of biological sex inspection points and teams of specially trained genital inspectors who'll be required in order to roll out broader genital inspections, to make sure your privacy isn't invaded by having to share a bathroom with a trans. Your donations help us research and deliver the next generation of solutions to promote women feeling safe, like this TSA-style machine that allows our agents to see through the clothes of women. This system has been very enthusiastically received by our team of trained genital inspectors. One of the team was so enthused he couldn't seem to get enough of it, and it's definitely got the Mall Guard seal of approval. But sadly, we're not there yet, and until we can identify the transes using technology, or perhaps a badging system, perhaps of pink triangles, I'm glad that we can count on men and women like you to be our eyes and ears, to watch each other and to be on the lookout. Now we know that we'll all be able to be looking for these so-called women who look a bit masculine, women you can look out for. Perhaps she has a strong jawline. Perhaps she has coloured hair, a telltale sign. Perhaps she has short hair and a suit and maybe looks a bit mannish, or maybe she even has coloured hair. So if you see someone who looks a bit mannish in the women's loos, please call and we can arrange for somebody to inspect their privacy. Don't worry about the increased level of intimate inspections. You will get used to it. We want to put an end to the madness of men being allowed to act like women and women being allowed to act like men. Together we can police each other's gender. Together we can enforce gender norms now. And of course we won't stop here. We plan to change the law to enforce men dressing like men and women dressing like women. So please give generously. This was a message from the Institute of Lavatorial and Ablutionary Compliance. Hail Darth Farage.